Today we're going to talk about autism, what really causes it, and what modern science actually shows. There's a story many people hear, but it's not the full reality. I want to walk you through the most up-to-date research, and also what I believe from my clinical observations. Many parents wake up at night wondering, did I do something wrong? Could I have prevented this? I get that. Autism is deeply personal. But the first major point we need to understand is that genetics plays a central role. Decades of twin studies, family research, and modern genetic sequencing all point strongly to an inherited predisposition. In fact, heritability estimates for autism reach around 80% in well-designed studies. Now, there are a couple of ways this can happen. Some children with autism carry rare, powerful gene changes, deletions or duplications of chromosomal regions, or single gene variants like SHANK3 or SHAD8 that can strongly influence brain development. Others have a more polygenic risk, dozens or hundreds of small inherited differences that, when combined, raise their vulnerability. This model, with both rare and common variants contributing, is exactly what scientists are finding. But genetics gives the vulnerability, not the full story. That vulnerability interacts with the environment, especially early in development, fetal, even around birth. These environmental factors don't act alone. They react like guests at a party where the host genetics already set the tone. So it's not just genes or environment. It's genes times environment that equals risk. This is what's known as the multiple hit concept. Let's walk through some specific prenatal risks. For mothers, conditions like obesity, gestational diabetes, or immune activation, for instance, from an infection during pregnancy, have been associated with an increased risk of ASD in the child. These aren't causes in isolation, but they change the likelihood, especially in a genetically predisposed fetus. High parental age, especially paternal age, has also been repeatedly linked to a higher rate of what are called de novo mutations. These are essentially new genetic errors in the sperm that can raise autism risk in the offspring. Now, you may have heard me or others talk about aluminum, inflammation, and vaccines. Let me be very clear. I believe chronic inflammation in the brain is a component in many health conditions, possibly including autism. Some proponents, including me, worry about aluminum adjuvants in vaccines because aluminum can be neurotoxic in high doses. But also, and this is important, the overwhelming high-quality scientific evidence does not support a causal link between routine childhood vaccines and autism. Major health institutions have conducted population-wide studies, and they find no reproducible link. From my perspective, here's a plausible biological model. Imagine a brain under chronic, low-grade inflammation. The microglia and astrocyte cells that support the neurons are a little overactive. There's oxidative stress, maybe mitochondrial dysfunction, maybe some immune dysregulation. If that is happening on top of a genetic vulnerability, then the neural circuits that support social behavior, language, and sensory processing can develop in slightly altered ways. I need to stress that this is a hypothesis, my perspective, and it's not yet proven as a universal cause. But research into these neuroimmunometabolic models of autism is ongoing. Let me give you an example to show the gap between theory and fact. Imagine two hypothetical families. In family A, the father is 45. The mother had gestational diabetes, and their genetics are rich in neurodevelopmental vulnerability. Their child is born, and early on shows signs of autism. That might fit the model very well. Multiple biological stressors converging. In family B, the parents are younger, with no metabolic issues, but there is a strong family history of autism. Their child also develops ASD traits, but the root there probably leans more heavily on inherited genes. This scenario perfectly mirrors how researchers think about this gene-environment interplay. We are also learning more every year about other possible prenatal exposures. Some studies suggest that certain medications, infections, and even air pollution or toxins like pesticides might play a role in increasing risk. But none of these things is a single smoking gun. Rather, they may tweak risk in certain sensitive pregnancies, especially when combined with specific genetic patterns. Look, I don't claim that my model is the final word. Science doesn't work that way. There are large, rigorous studies, but the effect sizes for many environmental risks are small. What's more, many associations are correlational, not proven causal. That means, just because an exposure is linked to increased risk in a population, doesn't prove it causes autism in a specific child. So, where does that leave us? If we accept that autism risk is a complex dance between genes and early biology, then our best practical moves are prevention and early intervention. For prevention, pregnant parents should optimize their metabolic health, manage blood sugar, inflammation, support immune balance, and avoid certain higher-risk exposures. For intervention, early screening, behavioral therapies, nutritional support, and possibly anti-inflammatory strategies might help. These are not cures, but they can support better outcomes. It's also crucial to remember that autism is part of human neurodiversity. Many autistic people have tremendous strengths. My goal is not to erase autism, but to reduce unnecessary suffering, improve brain health, reduce harmful inflammation, and support development. When we talk about causes, we talk not just to explain, but to empower so families can make evidence-based decisions. You might not hear this kind of balanced conversation in sensationalist media. Many channels push black and white narratives. The vaccine caused it, or it's all in your genes. But the reality is far more nuanced. Science evolves slowly, and real breakthroughs come from decades of rigorous work. I encourage you to dig into peer-reviewed research, trust reliable institutions, and stay skeptical of one-size-fits-all revelations. So, what is the real cause of autism? The answer is, there is not just one. It's a convergence of genetic vulnerability, prenatal and early life influences, and possibly lullable biological stressors like inflammation. That's the model supported by the best science we have today. And yes, there's still so much to learn, but with honesty, curiosity, and compassion, we can use that understanding to support autistic individuals and their families more effectively. Thanks for watching.